Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. On March 11th, 2016, it was reported that Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks quarterback, and Ciara, the pop singer, became engaged. I'm doing this video not because I care about the tabloid news, but because I want to wake the masses up to what is really going on so often with these celebrity marriages. If you're new to my channel, I am exposing the fact that Freemasonry, this secret society, has a lot of people in high places, and they abide by a numerological code. And as I've explained countless times before, many men in this Masonic network get married, get engaged to their wives by the numbers. This date, March 11th, that they were engaged on is connected to Scottish. In most places, the day is written before the month. So 11/3 for March 3rd is a lot like 113, the number of Scottish, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry, the branch of Freemasonry that's dominated this nation's history, the branch of Freemasonry credited with the creation of football. Russell Wilson, a footballer. So check this out. They're engaged on March 11th, and their engagement happens at these islands, which I don't even know how to pronounce correctly, but it looks like it could be Seychelles, Seychelles, something like that. Anyhow, the gematria of this word, and I'll just punch it in the calculator so you can see, is also 113 in simple English gematria, like Scottish, like the date. 11/3. Special number to the Masons. Perfect for a Masonic engagement. In Pythagorean gematria, the islands sum to 41. 41, the 13th prime number, a number special to this nation. USA equals 41. It began with 13 colonies. Again, 41, the 13th prime number. The island name in Pythagorean gematria sums to 74. Masonic sums to 74. Also, Russell Wilson plays for the Seahawks, who were established in the year 74. They didn't play their first NFL games until 76, though. But they joined the NFL established in 74. And again, in simple English gematria, the islands with the 113 name. So, very fitting. Here's what else I want to show you about both of these people. And I know more about Russell Wilson just because I see more football than Ciara pop songs. But her birth name is Ciara Princess Harris. In gematria, Ciara Harris sums to 60 and 69. 69 is interesting because that's the number at the top of the Royal Arch of Freemasonry. Ciara Harris in simple English gematria sums to 105, just like Zionism and Masonry, a special number to this gang. Her birthday, October 25th, 1985, has numerology of 139, just like the word Freemasonry the big way. And her life lesson number is 58, just like Freemasonry the small way. I talked a lot about this number 58 heading into the Super Bowl. In case you've never seen one of my videos before, just in case you're starting to think this is crazy talk, I'll tell you what, in the last year I've predicted almost every sports championship dead on the money well before they happened. In October of this past year, from knowing this language, I said the Super Bowl was scripted for the Broncos. The week before the Super Bowl, I predicted Broncos win, Von Miller MVP, who wears the number 58, and a Black Panthers tribute. How did I know about the Black Panthers tribute? Well, for a lot of reasons, but here's one I can explain to you quickly through the number 58, which Von Miller wore. Cam Newton, who was the number 1 overall draft pick, a pick ahead of Von Miller, became the 58th QB to start in a Super Bowl, this past one for the Carolina Panthers. He is related to Huey P. Newton, which in gematria the name equals 58, who started the Black Panther Party in Oakland, not far from where the Super Bowl was hosted this year. Oakland in gematria equals 58. The powers that be, this Freemason network, they have scripted history, they have scripted sports games within, and it's all part of a big rigged spectacle by the numbers. From the mainstream stories you're seeing right now of racial divisiveness, to the scripted sports games you're seeing, such as the Super Bowl, to the scripted Masonic marriage of Ciara and Russell Wilson. And again, if you think this is any joke, go back and look. I have over 1,000 videos. This is not a joke. I know it's crazy, but remember, I'm not the person who came up with this. I'm the person who figured out how they were coding it and are executing according to this code. I've been documenting this since 2013. So don't get it twisted. The month she's born in, October, is the only month with 33 gematria. And by the way, if you want to know how to gematria, down in the description, I have a video, How to Gematria. Watch the first 15 minutes of the hour-plus video. You'll be set. Anyhow, October, 33, the only month with 33 gematria. Russell Wilson, who's born on November 29th, 1988, has a lot of interesting things about his birthday. Notice Russell Carrington Wilson equals 137, which is the 33rd prime number. Russell Wilson is the only quarterback to win the Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year, February 2nd. Remember that Super Bowl over the Denver Broncos? The news up here in Seattle, where I'm from, did a lot of coverage about all the scoring in increments of 12, which is a big deal to Seattle, the 12th man. The first score of the game was 12 seconds in, a safety through the end zone, a scripted play. Telling you, the powers that be are laughing at us, and they can't believe that the masses just eat it up, such as a safety on the first play of the Super Bowl between the supposed best teams in the NFL. Just laughing at us. So this is where it gets interesting, Truth Seeker. Russell, in simple English gematria, sums to 106. And I just want to show you this. Prophecy, when spelled correctly, equals 106, just like the name Russell. And the reason this is significant is because he's born on November 29th, which is the anniversary date of the birth of the Zionist state of Israel. Israel, a Masonic Zionist accomplishment achieved by the numbers. It was achieved by a 33-member vote by the United Nations that's 39 floors tall. We're going to talk about the number 39 in a minute. But it was done on the date November 29th, 1947. You see, I'm writing this up in the toolbar. The numerology of this date is 106. 11 plus 29 is 40, plus 19 is 59, plus 47 more, 106. The number of prophecy, which we just talked about. Prophecy equals 106. In Zionist history, they refer to that as the date of prophecy. Gematria, mostly a Jewish practice. Show you something about gematria real quick. Gematria, 74. English, 74. Jewish, 74. Masonic, 74. And this is no coincidence. Out of the 50 states, only one has a 74 named the 33rd state. And that's a different topic for another time, but 33, 74 important numbers to the Freemasons. Think about this nation that has a 7th month, 4th day birthday. It's because this is a Masonic Zionist creation by the numbers. It always has been since day one. And what I'm showing now is just one little sample out of a pile of, can't even count them, Truth Seeker. They've been doing history like this since the beginning. So anyway, Russell Wilson, born on the anniversary date of the Zionist state, the 41-year anniversary, to be exact, 47 to 88, 41 the 13th prime. Carrington has gematria of 119. This is another very special number to the Zionists. Star of David has gematria of 119. So does all-seeing eye. And these are symbols that are on our currency that are printed by the central bank, which has always been ruled over by Masonic and Zionist entities. Think about money, all-seeing eye, Zionism. Isn't it all so obvious? Most people know this information. Wilson in gematria sums to 92. Show you something. This recent headline from People magazine. Zoom this in so you can see this. Russell Wilson says, fiancé sounds way better in sweet post-engagement video. Whenever the media emphasizes a phrase, if you get the gematria of that phrase, you're going to see how it relates to the story. Check this out. The small way that phrase, fiancé sounds way better, which is emphasized, has gematria of 92. just like the gematria of the name Wilson. This is the small method. This is the big method. These are interrelated methods. They're made for coding this way. If you want to put the same number as a sentence as you do in a word, you need the big and small method. This is the two methods the media mostly uses. These are the ones you want to know. I'll link this calculator. You want to use ordinal for big way, reduction for small way. 90% of your decoding done right here. And the media, always doing this. I'm talking about all the mainstream outlets, all the cable news, all the ones that come through your antenna, all the ones such as People, magazines, they're all doing this all the time in front of everybody's face, which is the point of my videos, to wake people up to truth, to see how you're being laughed at, to see how the code's being executed. His birthday numerology is 147, 66, 39. 66, a special number to the NFL and more. The first Super Bowl at the end of the 66th season. NFL and Jewish gematria, a format we don't use as often, but it was interesting. NFL and Jewish gematria equals 66. When you think about how the first Super Bowl at the end of the 66th season, it becomes all the more interesting. Anyhow, what really stands out, though, is his birth numerology of 39. 39 books in the Old Testament, which the Jews go by. 39 signers on the Declaration. Again, it's a Masonic Zionist creation from the beginning. This year on Russell Wilson's birthday, he defeated the Steelers. Remember, the original signing done in Pennsylvania. He defeated the Steelers on his birthday, and he won with 39 points. And the final touchdowns were a joke. The defender didn't even try to stop. You could just see how scripted it was. They needed to get to 39 points. It was the Russell Wilson birthday tribute. And also, Seahawks and Steelers and other NFL fans know the most scripted Super Bowl in the history of all scripted Super Bowls, which they are, was the Steelers and the Seahawks. It was a rigged joke for Jerome Bettis, Jim Cowher, just as this past season was for Peyton Manning at age 39. Just to go back in history, give you another example of this. Russell Wilson was the opening joke of the ESPYs after the Super Bowl, which they lost to the Patriots. The joke was that he should have handed off to Marshawn. Here's what I want you to know. ESPYs in gematria sums to 21. Russell Wilson lost the Super Bowl on February 1st, 2/1. It was Russell Wilson's 21st pass of the game on the down 2nd and 1 on the date 2/1 that was intercepted by number 21 with 21 seconds left in the game. And think about how 21 is the reflection of 12. 21, the reflection of 12. Seattle big with all the 12th man. It's all a joke. Tom Brady went up 4-2 in Super Bowls after that. Washington, the 42nd state. Seahawks in gematria equals 42. Seahawks in gematria also equals 24 and 33. It's an interesting word, the way the letters are structured. First team to win on the 33rd day of the year, Seahawks equals 33. Also equals 42. Tom Brady goes up 4-2 by the numbers. So here's the other thing I want to talk about, Truth Seekers. Part of the reason they do this to us. You know, we are a programmed people, and so many of us, we follow what celebrities are doing. You know, we let celebrities guide us. We're more into them than we are into ourselves. And, you know, I think that's accurate to say, speaking for the nation I live in. I'm someone who's always been opposed to tabloid news, the TV, you know. More about social interaction, doing things ourselves. Instead of watching the sports game, let's go out and play the sports game. You know, use it or lose it. That's my theory. You got to be out there working out or the body's going to rot away. Anyway, headlines like this have come out since the engagement. If you're not aware, Russell Wilson was married to his high school sweetheart, supposedly, and they got divorced right after he won the Super Bowl, which seems really suspicious, you know. This young married couple, husband wins the Super Bowl. Here in the mainstream, we're taught to think that's the top of the world. You just won the Super Bowl. But what happens in Russell Wilson's personal life? His wife wants to divorce him. You know, I don't want to go down that road and what I think's really going on there. But I just want people to see how, these stories just transpire. So after the engagement to Ciara, we get this headline. Russell Wilson's ex-wife, Ashton Meme, shades Ciara with her diamond engagement ring in Twitter photo. And then you read the article, and it talks about how this ring is estimated to be worth $2 million to $2.5 million. Think about that. And why does Russell Wilson have, the ability to spend $2 million to $2.5 million on a diamond ring for engagement? He has that money because he goes out and he follows a script and delivers a loss for a Super Bowl when he's told to. As I said before the game happened, I said, watch, Russell Wilson will throw the game for Carolina. It's all scripted for Carolina to win. On my channel at the time, I was explaining the Super Bowl is going to be the Broncos and Panthers for the race war symbolism to go with the Black Panther tribute. Just go back and watch everything I put out. For anyone who thinks what I'm saying is crazy, you're mistaken. I know what I'm talking about perhaps better than anybody else on the face of this planet right now. And I can say that with total confidence because, hey, who have you ever heard from that predicted Broncos win a Super Bowl, Von Miller's the MVP, and there'll be a Black Panther tribute well before it happened? The only reason I'm able to do this is because I see through the madness of this world and I know how they code it. Anyway, back on point. This guy is paid all this money because he sells out his fans who give away their hard-earned money to pay for overpriced tickets to football games that are rigged, and the fan doesn't realize that. And, on top of that, here in Seattle, like many other cities, the taxpayers paid for the stadium to watch these rigged games that they don't know are rigged. But anyway, people read this, they're like, wow, Russell Wilson, he's the man, $2.5 million ring. They worship all this. And they realize they're never going to have that kind of money, but it reinforces this is what you're supposed to do as the big man. You're supposed to go out and you're supposed to drop enough money to feed a continent, to impress a girl. And all this money that he has is blood money. This is programming. This is reinforcing the lie. This is steering society. And that's why these banker tyrants who own these athletes, who for them $2.5 million is chump change, that's why they rig the game the way they do. It's all about controlling the masses. Russell Wilson, Ciara, they're just used as tools by the powers that be to steer the masses. Instead of the manpower going out on the weekend and taking the nation back, they're all sitting on their fat asses, drinking beer, eating potato chips, watching the rigged sports game, getting angry how their team lost in another stupid, unbelievable play at the end of the game. They can't see it's all rigged to piss them off. And here's what else I want to say about diamonds, And I'll tell you why I'm a hypocrite in the end, too. But this is what I want you to know. Diamond has this gematria of 33, this super important number to Freemasonry. And again, these people created our language, and they coded our language with numbers of significance. The diamond trade is older than our language, than our nation. Just to think about the logical order of how all this could come to be. If you've never heard my theory on the English language, it's that it's the Masons' master creation. And that's why they spread it worldwide and made it the global language at this day and age. All coded with all their meaningful numerology and gematria. Anyhow, if you're not aware of the diamond trade back in the day, when, the European Jew bankers went down to Africa and carved it up, they put this man in charge of it, the diamond trade in Rhodesia. His name was Cecil Rhodes. Oversee the diamond trade, this massive diamond industry going on in Africa. Rhodes has 33 name gematria, just like diamond. Fitting. It's the name of the man who oversaw this brutal diamond trade. Something millions of people have died for. Probably more than millions in the history of humanity. I want you to notice how Masonry has gematria of 33. And so does order. And that's what's going on in this world. A Masonic order, by the numbers, reinforcing their values, keeping the people of humanity participating in their trades, which they own, the diamond trade. That's what we do as a people. You know, we're slaves for these people, and we've been taught tokenism, materialism. We go out and spend our money on this stuff thinking it has meaning. Giving all of our money back to the tyrants who rule over us and reinforce where they want us to spend our money. Alcohol, sports games, diamonds. Don't you see it? And think about it. Russell Wilson spends $2.5 million on an engagement ring, and the woman leaves him. That's what people should take away. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. It doesn't matter how bright and shiny the diamond is. That's not what love's about. It's just temporary satisfaction. Everyone knows materialism ultimately breeds emptiness. That's why people always have to go out and consume more, buy more, more. Because it doesn't satisfy, not long term. Russell Wilson's wife ultimately, you know, she didn't want the diamond ring. She wanted a man that made her feel like a woman. Russell Wilson is a phony, a fraud, a fake, an empty. Russell Wilson's what's wrong with this world. He just signed a, $88 million contract? And what's he do? He goes out there and sells his fans out week after week. This year, after he threw the game against Carolina, he was all peppy afterwards. He goes, it just reminds me I got to work harder next year. Full of shit. And his fans eat this up. And little kids all around the city wear his name on the backs of shirts and jerseys. Wilson. An overpriced sellout who steals from his fans. Now here's where I'm the hypocrite truth seeker, ranting about Russell Wilson. You know, that's part of the problem too. People not being accountable, always blaming somebody else. Now, I'll have you know I'm not a very materialistic person. I'm not into material stuff. I'm into having the basics. But historically, the women I've dated, like most women of this world, they love nice things, nice shiny things. And, you know, my girlfriend who I love, who I've dated for a number of years, she's been asking for a nice pair of diamond earrings for years. And I always tell her things like this, like, you know, when you buy diamonds, it supports bad things ultimately. But, you know, she wants those nice shiny diamonds. So anyhow, this past Valentine's Day, you know, the consumer day that it is, the materialism day that it is, that funds the tyrants, she just, you know, she asked well in advance, can you please get those diamond earrings? So anyhow, I decided I would, just to make her happy, you know, understanding what's wrong with it. And what's funny is, just to tell you a little story about what happened. You see this outfit I'm wearing right now? Not very nice. Gray hoodie, nasty gray stocking cap. Like I said, I'm not very materialistic. I went to the mall in this exact outfit, right? And as I was walking up to the store where she wanted the earrings from, there was a salesman, dressed nice. He wasn't with anybody. And I was thinking, you know, I'm going to approach this guy, tell him what I'm looking for. As I walk up to him, he turns his back on me. Turns his back on me. He doesn't even have a customer. But you know why he did it? Because of the way I was dressed. So he turned his back, and a little tiny Asian woman, kind of like my girlfriend, she comes running over and says, "Oh, are you here to get something?" I said, "I am." I said, I think I know just what I want. So went over to the diamond earrings. I had her pull them all out. Here's a tip. If you ever get diamonds, what you want to do is you want to look at all the ones they have in stock, because even though they're priced the same, some shine brighter than others, and you want to get them out and look under them under the light. So I looked at all these diamonds. I saw which ones were the brightest, which looked the nicest the way they were cut. And I got those. And while I was ringing up, I noticed that salesman who turned his back on me. He walked over to see how much I spent. He wanted to know what kind of commission he just missed out on. And what was he doing? He was operating according to the way we've all been programmed. You know, people judge people based on the way they looks. And honestly, something about me you might not realize is that in a way I kind of live my life as a social experiment. Sometimes I dress nice, usually I dress low key. And I always just appreciate the ways people respond based on how you're dressed. You can just see how humanity is, how we've been programmed to be. And ultimately, it shouldn't be that way. We're not supposed to be materialistic. We're not supposed to judge people on their appearances. This is what we teach kids often as adults, but then as a people, we don't embody it ourselves. So, I always like to live a little bit against the grain. I know what kind of nation I live in. I got to keep things interesting. All right, the video is getting a little long. I'll cut it off here, Truth Seeker. Until next time.